How far are you willing to go? The drive, the sweat, the blood, the tears, your determination through the pain and all the suffering, people overlooking you, telling you that you're not good enough. You have to believe that you're great. And with you believing that you're great, anything you want to do, you can achieve. No one can stop you. Only you can stop yourself. Keep driving. Keep uplifting yourself. Keep going. Keep going. Nothing, and no one can stop you. That goal you want, you can achieve it. How you inspire people is going to be up to you. Keep going. Never give up. Never give up. Keep going. Never give up.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon. And we here on 910 Sports TV once again. First and foremost, I want to thank God for this opportunity because without him will be no us to be able to do this each and every Saturday night. And then next I want to introduce my right hand man, Mr. Cowboys fans, Mr. Cowboy himself, biggest fan in the world. You know what I'm saying? Jacob the Great. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, family?
Man, how you doing? How you doing, man? Another day, another choice, and we're trying to get it right, man. So I'm grateful to be here to, give the spotlight to this wonderful South Carolina legendary coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So go ahead and introduce this fabulous coach so we can go ahead and get this interview started.
Man, we have South Carolina great, South Carolina football coach, high school Hall of Famer, Maryland coach Lewis Ineberger. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be here, and I certainly appreciate what y'all do for high school athletics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Coach, man, you have such a amazing, remarkable story. So, what led you to getting into, coaching athletes and shaping young men up to be productive citizens of society?
Well, years ago when I finished high school, I played football and baseball, and I wanted to go to college, not to get an education, but to play ball. And I just happened to get an education along the way, and then I got out of college and had my first job opportunity in Hartsville, South Carolina, under Coach Johnny Roscoe, who I think is one of the best coaches in South Carolina that South Carolina's ever had. And he gave me a start, and I was assistant for 7 years at Hartsville with him. And then he left, and I was able to get the head coaching job and stayed in Hartsville for 21 more years, 28 total, and then left there and came to Johnsonville and was at Johnsonville for 13 years.
Okay. So, Coach, tracking back, you went to college and you played ball. So, what college did you attend?
I went to Wingate Junior College and played baseball, and then I played 1 year of baseball at Western Carolina University.
Okay. And so, from the time you was playing up until now, do you think the coaching styles has different from the people that coach you, or did that groom you on how to become a great coach as well?
Well, I think they definitely helped me. I learned from my high school coaches in football and baseball at South Point High School in Belmont, North Carolina. And then Coach Roscoe gave me the opportunity to start, and I was just graduating from college, and I learned a lot from him. We were able to attend clinics and go visit different college programs across the country, and he had a big influence, and I tried to learn from everybody I heard at clinics and people that we played against, watch what they did, and tried to learn as much as I possibly could from everybody I came in contact with.
Okay. So, are you an offensive minded coach or a defensive minded coach?
More offense. I think you had to have a strong defense, and we were fortunate at Hartsville to have that, but probably I'm a little more offensive minded.
Okay. So So are you an I formation, a shotgun, a motion type coach? So what type of offensive mind would you say that you have?
Well, we ran mostly from the I formation and then some from the wishbone. And at Hartsville, we called it the foxbone. And at Johnsonville, we called it the flashbone. At Johnsonville, we ran more from the wishbone. I felt like it fit our personnel here. But at Hartsville, we mixed it up a little more and used the I and some spread type stuff. But basically, offensively, we wanted to control the football and be able to run the football, throw play action passes, and then we'd sprinkle in some drop back passes and a few trick plays along the way.
Okay. So the running back, the fullback, and the slot back.
Right.
Okay. And so to have an effective offense like that, when you have the running back, the fullback, and the slot back, what does that take? Starting out with your offensive line until people understand how the play is ran, and people just understanding and going over film. And so from the kids coming from middle school over to high school, was it hard to groom them in that I formation of their wishbone formation?
Well, I don't think so. It's basically football, and we were very fortunate at Hartsville to have an outstanding junior high team and a JV team that we all ran the same
That was
system.
it.
Basically it's teaching football, but when they get to the high school, we were able to teach them our system, and you had to have players and assistant coaches that believe in what you're doing. And we were very fortunate to have great assistant coaches at Hartsville and at Johnsonville to help spread our philosophy and to teach our young men. And again, I want to say it's more than just wins and losses. It's about teaching young people, making better people out of them.
That's right. That's right. I turn over to you.
Yeah, coach. So first, I want to congratulate you on being a Hall of Fame coach in the state of South Carolina. And so, basically, what makes Coach Lineberger? What what's your secret sauce? What as far as being able to coach these young men to be on a and have a such a successful career? So, what's kind of your secret sauce if you think about it over the years?
Well, I think first thing it takes the work ethic, and I grew up working hard all my life, and I had to work hard playing. I wasn't a tremendous gifted athlete, but I worked extremely hard for what I got, and then being under the coaches I had in high school and Coach Roscoe and his staff at Hartsville, I learned that work ethic and then at Johnsonville tried to bring it down here as well. But I think a big key is having players that buy into your system, that are willing to work hard, and then having those assistant coaches to get the most out of the players. Uh, and the rules have changed so much now, but I believe at Hartsville and at Johnsonville, we worked harder than anybody in the state. We pushed our players and had them in better shape, especially at Hartsville. Uh, We'd go to camp and practice 4 times a day for a week, and at Laurinburg and different places, and scrimmage of some of the best teams in the state, Somerville, uh, to name a few, Lancaster and other places. But I think getting them in top shape and then making the players realize that you care about them more than just an athlete. You care about them as people, and I like to think that our coaches helped our players and made them a lot tougher, and that's helped them later on in life.
Okay, so what season that you can think of all your years that you go went into a season thinking yourself, boy, this going to be a long season, and it ended up being basically exceeding your expectations by the end of the year.
Well, we won the state championship in 1987, and we lost probably 25, 27 players. And the next year, we went back and won the state championship again, back to back. And that was probably the most surprising team we've had. In 1984, when I became head coach for the first time, we played for the state championship, and that was my first year as head coach. And it was a very tough season. We were practicing, and I wanted to make sure that people knew that it wasn't going to get easier when Coach Roscoe left. So we practiced extremely hard. And being an offensive line, defensive line coach, I love and believe in hitting, being very physical. And we had players walk out, and but we had to establish how it was going to be, and we ended up with 34 players. And unfortunately, we played for a state championship and lost, but it was great getting there. And I think that started progression to 87 and 88, where we won, and then we played for it again in 92 and 93 at Hartsville, and 97 again.
Okay, so on the flip side, what season did you have where you thought, oh, we definitely winning the championship this year, and for whatever reason, it didn't click, and it made you as a coach have to maybe reevaluate some things, and and kind of be like, a learning season where you had to go back to the drawing board?
Well, I think 1992 and 93, we were extremely talented, and we lost state championship in one of those years in the last 2 minutes, and then the other one in overtime. And that made me go back and realize that we needed to get better. I thought we had great talent, and for some reason, we just missed it at the very end in those two games. And I never felt like that we were going to win the state when we started the season. I always thought or had a belief that we could be pretty good, but you have to have a lot of things go your way to win a state championship. It's not easy. You have to have the players, you have to have the coaches. It helps to have that support, and then you have to have some breaks along the way.
Okay, so tell me, what's the biggest difference between your earlier years? Like you said, we all know in the 80s and 90s, you can hit a joke in the mouth and don't got to apologize for it. And we know, and nowadays, it's basically you can't touch the quarterback, you can't put your hands on the receiver. So what's the biggest adjustment you had to make over so many rule changes in football over the years?
Well, I think we had to get a lot more uh, intelligent as coaches where you could coach those things, and you couldn't be as physical. We started out and wanted to be the most physical team in the state and in the country, but you had to learn techniques. You had to learn little things that help make the players better. And we spent a great deal of time watching film. And I think some of the rule changes have been good, but I think some others, as far as practice, again, we would start practice in my early days and practice a couple of weeks, 2 times a day, and then go to camp and practice 4 times a day and come back, and then they limited the rules on down the road where you couldn't do that. But I think being able to practice like that, you were able to get your players in top shape. And I felt like earlier in my career, we won games because we were in better shape than other people. But I also think it helps prevent injuries in players when you can get them in good shape. And I know we really didn't have a lot of concussions or have people go down with heat illness early in their career.
Okay, go back to you, Jacob.
Okay, okay, coach. So you mentioned playing people like Lancaster and Somerville, and I remember this this young fella that played for Somerville and went on to play with Georgia Bulldogs and played for the Cincinnati Bengals for a long time by the name of AJ Green. And so, if you was doing them scrimmages with Somerville, you seen a lot of that fella named AJ Green. So, what was it like scrimmaging teams like Lancaster and Somerville, man? And so, how did that prepare y'all for the season?
Well, it made you very tough to start with. We'd go to camp practice. Now, Somerville and some of those other teams didn't practice 4 times a day, but I remember A.J. Green very well. And Coach McKissick, I think, was probably the best coach that's ever coached in high school. And he was a good friend of mine. I've respected him, but I'm not bragging, but he said he learned one thing from me. And if he learned anything from me, I think that's a miracle. But he said he played A.J. Green on both sides of the ball. He had enough players where you didn't have to play people both ways. And we always had to put our best players on the field and might have 4 or 5 to 8 or 10 playing both ways, and he used AJ Green on defense too. So, um, but playing those people made you be at your best at all times, and we'd have some knockdown dragouts at football camp in Laurinburg, Myrtle Beach, Dillon. Had some outstanding teams up there, and I think anytime you go against that kind of competition, then it has to make you better.
Now, whoa, coach. Now you said something that was key. Now for the coach of Somerville to put AJ Green on both sides of the ball, that means that y'all had some firepower, you know. So for him to line up at receiver and then put him at either strong corner or quick corner or strong safety or free safety, that's saying a lot how you had your young man prepared, man. And so with you having these young men prepared like that, man, did you prepare them for Division 1 as well?
I didn't hear that last question. The Division 1 players,
Yes, yeah, I said so. It sounds like you prepared the young man to go Division 1 to
right?
go to a Division 1 college.
We tried to, and we had some players go on and play college, and some to go on pro. But we tried to train them to be in the best physical shape they could be, and to really, work football year round as far as weightlifting and conditioning. But we also encouraged our football players to play other sports as well. And I think having this type of opportunity to scrimmage the Somervilles, the Lancasters, the Dillons, the Myrtle Beaches in that time had a lot to do with their success.
Right. And not only that, you prepared them to be emotionally tough and mentally tough. And sometimes it can get a little hard to prepare, you know, somebody to be mentally and emotionally tough on their football field because football is a game. You gotta have a strong mentality, and it's also emotions as well. So
Well, I agree. We want them to be mentally and physically tough and emotionally, and being at camp and those type things, being out there in the hot weather, I think helped in that. And it's always good when players come back, and we had players to go overseas and fight in different wars and stuff, and came back and said they would never made it through if they hadn't have played high school football. And I think that was a big honor, and we certainly appreciate them fighting for our country, but it's good to get those people back too.
right, most definitely. Now you coached the Shrine Bowl too, right?
Assistant,
Did you hear me, Akon?
Yeah. Well, he froze up. He froze up.
I think he did.
Oh, okay.
Okay, coach. Okay, I got you.
There we go. There we go.
Coach, you coached the Shrine Bowl as well, right?
right? I certainly did, and coached some great players there, and learned a great deal. And even more important, the game is what the game did for the Shriners Hospital, those children up there.
Right. So coaching at Shrine Bowl and seeing players from the south to South Carolina and the north of South Carolina, there's a whole lot of players. We talking about upstate Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney, and then we talking about North Augusta and places like that and South Point and Rock Hill and Northwestern, along with Hartsville and Darlington and places like that. So you've seen a lot of talent from all over the state of South Carolina, man. So, what was that experience like on coaching all of them together as one?
Oh, it was an extreme pleasure to get to coach that much talent. At Hartsville and at Johnsonville, we felt like we had some talent, but we didn't have near that talent from top to bottom that you have in a Shrine Bowl or even in a North South All Star team. And just some of the players that stood up, and they were not only great players, but great people. And I think that's even more important. But to get that group together, have 40 to 45 players from the best in South Carolina. There's some tremendous talent, and also being able to coach with those assistant coaches out of different programs is a big plus. So I always looked at it as a learning situation, and was very fortunate to have coached in those games.
All right, all right. Appreciate that. Back to you, Akon.
So let's discuss the NIL transfer portal. I know a lot of old school coaches like yourself got very frustrated, and you've seen a lot of coaches even bow out. Nick Saban's, and on the basketball side, the Roy Williams, the Coach K's, they kind of bowed out because they seen what was coming down the pipeline with all of that. So what's your opinion of the NIL and transfer portal up to this point?
Are you talking more in high school or college?
I'm just saying, like, for the transition, both, but this the transition of players when they have to make that decision, what schools they're going to go. Because one thing you hear about a lot of college coaches when they're recruiting these players, the money comes into the picture too fast. It's not much, it's not about, okay, what do you offer me educational wise? What do you offer me? Maybe, my opportunity to get on the field faster, things of that nature. It's more about what you're gonna pay me. So what have you seen, and what have you had to deal with as far as maybe coaching your players, as far as discussing with them what's more important, or what they need to be looking for at a school other than just the money?
Well, I think there's a lot to be said, and I have to say that Clemson does an outstanding job with that. Uh, the NIL has really changed college football, and I think for those people to make money is always good, but also it's taking away commitment and loyalty to a certain college. And if a college coach gets on a player, coaches him hard, trying to make him better, then that player may leave or may leave for money. And then you get into recruiting battles with just the money, the dollar sign is going to come up. And I think in the long run, it's awful tough. And not only am I concerned about college football, but it's going to trickle down to high school as well later on. So I think that could be a big problem. And now players are getting spoiled. They play for the money. And sometimes players might make more money than the coaches, especially at smaller schools. And I think that's going to be a tough situation that we're going to have to look at across the country, across the board, and try to find some ways to help alleviate players leaving just to go to another school for money or just because the coach coaches him hard.
Okay, so you said you more of an offensive coach than a defensive coach. So what teams or coaches that you watch, one on the college level, you love to watch their offense on Saturday mornings or Saturday afternoons, and what coach or team do you like to watch on Sundays?
Well, basically, and I said before that I was able to visit most time with Coach Roscoe to different colleges, but first coaching clinic I ever went to was at Clemson, and Coach Danny Ford was an assistant coach, offensive line coach, and about got in a fight with the defensive line coach when they were going 3-on-3 for spotting the ball one way or the other. And I thought that was tremendous. And that's how I got some of my philosophy about being physical was from Clemson under Coach Danny Ford. I also got to visit Bobby Bowden at Florida State. Uh, I got to go to Penn State, Nebraska, Alabama, North Carolina State, every college about in South Carolina and North Carolina, Virginia, Virginia Tech, those places. And I was able to learn a lot from those people. But I like watching good physical football. I like watching anybody play in South Carolina. And then on Sundays, I watched the Carolina Panthers because they had some players that I knew well, and I like Miami Dolphins in the old days when they were real good, and I just like watching good football, whether it's high school, college, or pro.
Okay, okay. So what I always say this when it comes to Bobby Bowden, we don't talk about him enough. I'm a Miami Hurricane fan, so that was my biggest rivalry. You know what I mean? But it's crazy. I hated everything about Florida State but Bobby Bowden. For some reason, couldn't get myself to hate him. He was fair, but but everything about Florida State, I hate it with a passion. Being a Miami Hurricane since the good old days or whatever. So just tell us what's your biggest success story when it comes to one of your players that you love to brag about, either like and if you bump into that player or and see what he's doing today, or things that the time you might have spent with that player or a couple of players.
Well, I think one player, and there's a bunch of them along the way. The first year of coaching at Hartsville, we'd go to camp, and we had this big tackle. His name was James Stevenson, and he ended up and played college football. But I had to make him lose weight, and I we'd go to the lunchroom, and I'd have to eat some of his food where he wouldn't eat too much, and I'd have to after every practice. But he later became a preacher, and he ended up and retired about 2 years ago across from the Rose Bowl in California. Had two churches there and did a tremendous job. But you talking about a success story? He would work in tobacco fields, and again, when we were at home, I'd have to make him stay after practice. So I couldn't do it in the morning because he had to go back and work in the tobacco fields. So he would come in before practice, and I would work him out before practice where he could go home on time and go back to work. But he was one, and then we've had so many more. Aubrey Shaw played at North Carolina State. I helped him a great deal as far as getting him into prep school in Virginia. But he was just an extremely good person, and he was all state in football, basketball, and baseball, and a good person. I remember going to that football camp again. And, he would have to leave to play for the American Legion State Championship, and uh, I would have to, of course, let him by with that. But when he came back, he had to run extra to make up for
Okay.
Okay. So I got one to come. I'm gonna shoot it back to Jacob after this one. So I know academically you talked about the kids doing good in academically. So I'm not sure if he's still there or not. You still there, Coach? He might have blanked out for a minute. But yeah, because I was gonna ask him about basically about standards. Some coaches have different standards when it comes to academics, and that's what makes some coaches different from others. Because you remember the movie with Samuel Jackson, not Samuel Jackson. Um, what's his name? Yeah, Samuel Jackson.
Oh,
Damn.
you talking about Coach Carter?
Coach Carter when I think that they only needed like a C or something to stay on the team, but he was trying to see the players to have a B or B plus or something like that to stay on the team. Um, so, Coach, you might have to go out and come back in if you're not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I think he's
So
trying to get back in.
uh,
But I
yeah, you
can
might have to call go out.
from what I hear, man, about this transfer program that your son can go up to high school.
You said what now?
The transfer portal might be going to high school, man. They say kids is already transferring in high school and whatnot, man, and they compensating the parents. It's already started, man.
Yeah. And that's the crazy part because basically they are saying that the high school players gonna start getting paid. Now I'm not sure how much they're gonna get paid in high school, but that's gonna ruin the kids even more because the bad part about it is a lot of these kids by the time they get to college, they don't want to put they don't want to put they don't want to put the work in it takes to get on the field. They just wanted to be handed it to them, and that's what's making it so hard for these coaches nowadays That's why you're starting to get younger and younger coaches because the younger coaches, I guess, they can so-called relate to the players better. With the older coaches, it's like, okay, some of them try to adjust as much as they can, but how much can you really make a coach? If a coach gets successful, like let's say it's a Nick Saban, how much you want Nick Saban to adjust to a player if he's used to a certain level of success? You know what I mean? And these players got to understand that if you really want to be, one of the best players in the country and one of the best players in the NFL, why wouldn't you want to listen to a coach Saban? You know what I'm saying? It's got 6 championships and God knows how many SEC championships and the best conference in the world. So at the end of the day, what I mean, I don't see why these players feel the need to not want to um, fight for a position and just show how great they really are. If you feel like you're that great of a player, you shouldn't have no problem competing with other players to get on the field. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. So even if okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? Let's just say you're an NIL player and you making 500,000, $1 million a year. Is it okay? Now you got to stay 3 or 4 years, the whole 4 years, whatever, to get on the field, or 3 or 4 years to get on the field. But you're making money. So at the end of the day, wouldn't you just okay? I'm making got my money over here now. Let me just go out there and work hard and earn the money instead of think about the players over the last 50 years that had to wait their turn to get on the field and they was dead broke going through college, or they all they got was whatever the meal plan was and the little bit of money that it was. Even if let's just say it was players that actually was getting paid to go to college under the table. They wasn't getting paid like these players. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? They might have got a car or whatever. Their mama might have got a house, you know what I mean, or whatever out the deal, but they wasn't like they was millionaires going into the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that's just kind of crazy to me how these players think. Okay, he back, coach. Okay. So he back.
Welcome back,
So
Coach. Welcome back, Coach.
yeah. So go ahead, Jay, because I could have slipped my mind the last question I was going. Oh, I was going to ask you, Coach. I was going to ask you about the academics. So I don't know if you ever watched the movie Coach Carter, when Coach Carter had one level academics where the school was saying, well, you got to have a C+ to stay on the team, but Coach Carter was like, no, you to be on my team, you got to have, I think it's like a B+ to stay on my team. So what's your
3.0.
expectation when it comes to your what you expect of your players education wise?
Well, I didn't feel like I needed to make it any higher than what the high school league did. I just wanted to be eligible. But the biggest thing I wanted is for those students to do the very best they can. If they were an A student, I wanted to make A's. If a B or a C student, I wanted just to be the very best they could be. And sometimes you may have a low level student academically, and football keeps them in school. So again, if it's a D student, I wanted to make sure that he did the very best in every class he could. And I think education is so important.
So let me ask you this question: how important do you think? Because I know you said you had a couple of players that you pushed off to the JUCO league or helped get on JUCO football teams or different colleges, small. How important do you think a second chance you program is to students who do struggle academically, or even maybe their home life get caught up in the streets and then something happens and they have to get that second chance?
Well, I'm one that's convinced that going to college it all helps, where it's JUCO, where it's prep school, or where it's Division 1 school. If they can go 1 year, I think that helps them. If they can go all 4 and graduate, or 5, whatever it takes, I think the more college they get, the more it helps them. Again, I just want to see them reach the highest level they can reach in academics as well as in their personal life and athletics as well.
Okay, go ahead, Jacob.
Okay, Coach. Now, so we had this NIL going on now, the transfer portal. So I've always said this. I'm from South Carolina, the small town called Saluda, South Carolina, and I've been following. I mean, I played and I follow high school sports. I've always have. I see who's got recruiting class. I pay attention to the newspapers. I go into, different, different, high school, newspapers and seeing who's coming back or who's going to take the position. So, and I know some top tier players in the state of South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia, because those are three states that I'm close to, so I said, man, we interviewed this guy, a running back who rushed for, uh, I think he rushed for what, 5,500 yards, I can. The running
Yeah,
back
yeah,
we interviewed,
something crazy.
yeah, and Georgia State finally picked him up at the last minute. And he said
Mm.
the reason why he didn't get picked up, he felt like because if you're at Georgia Bulldogs and you transfer to NC State or you transfer to Clemson or you transfer to the University of South Carolina, those guys that already have that experience, that collegiate football experience, Division 1, those are the ones that's making it hard for the schools to give out players that's coming out of high school scholarships. Do you agree with that or do you disagree with that?
Well, I worry about that. I think it's going to get harder for high school students to get scholarships because of the transfer portal. And again, I think it hurts those high school athletes, and I'm for helping them every way you possibly can. So I think it's a bad thing because again, you get transfers from all over the country for different reasons, for money, or they get upset with the coaches. And I think we not teaching them very good lessons in life about freedom.
Okay, okay. Oh, so, coach. Nowadays, I see a lot of high schools hiring a different type of coach. They hire on a strength and conditioning coach now. So the high schools have a lot more money than they used to have. You know what I mean? Usually you had the head coach and you had the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and your special teams coach was the special teams coach and the strength and conditioning coach. So with the high schools taking in more kids and having more money now, how important do you think that them having a coach that only focus on strength and conditioning, how important is that nowadays?
Well, I think anytime strength and condition is very important, and if you can hire those coaches, used to we had four coaches. I first started at Hartsville, and we did offense, defense, special teams, and strength and conditioning, and spent a lot of time with it. But the more knowledge you get into coaching, if you have somebody that's the expert on strength and conditioning, and as long as you get the other coaches involved too, I think that's great. But the better coaches, the more coaches you can get, the better off you're going to be. And I think it only helps with the outstanding strength and conditioning programs we have in this state, and with the Strength Coaches Association we have in this state. I think that really helps.
Okay, okay. So now, coach, on all your years of coaching, have you um have you had a football player that's Herschel Walker strong?
I've had some strong ones. I don't know if I've had a Herschel Walker or not, but again, all been very talented. Had a player that played for Tennessee Titans. Albert Hainsworth was very strong. Uh,
I definitely know who it is.
well,
Mhm.
had some others too. Randy Wheeler at South Carolina, Lee Wiggins. We've had some players go on and play college and go on and play pro too. So I think strength and conditioning is extremely important, and the better coach you can have in those areas. And used to is just getting strong, but now it's being able to move, being able to do the speed work and the agility work along with getting strong is so important.
Do you find yourself missing being on the field a lot?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I miss it every Friday night. It's kind of tough right now with it being 98 degrees and thinking about starting football practice, but I still miss it. If I had the opportunity or felt like I could help somebody, I'd still be out there coaching. But it's different. But come Friday nights, I miss it. And really and truly, it's not only the Friday nights; it's the work Monday through Sunday that you develop that camaraderie with your other coaches, with the community, and with your players. So it's not just about the football practice, but it's everything involved in that.
Okay, okay. So do you still find yourself mentoring other coaches right now?
Occasionally, I get that opportunity to do it. I got some coaches in my family, and I talk to coaches from time to time, and I still go watch games at Johnsonville. I still go games at Hartsville. I still even go up to North Carolina and watch South Point High School, where I played at in high school, and I try to help other coaches as much as I can. I have some call me from time to time, and I'm very fortunate to have coached some good ones. I had some assistant coaches, Jeff Calabrese at Hartsville now, and by the way, he broke my winning percentage at Hearts for one. He's won more games than I have now, but I gave him his first coaching job, and also Dean Boyd, who is at Marlboro County and York. He's going in the Hall of Fame tomorrow night, so he's another one that I talk to occasionally, and hopefully I've helped them along the way. And sometimes I tell them. It's not always what I tell that's good, but sometimes you might learn from me things not to do. So if you learn not what to do, that's learning as well.
That's right. That's right. That's right, coach. That's right. That's right. So keep on doing what you're doing, man. Keep on mentoring because you can't never have too much mentorship, and it's always going to be something that people may not understand or just need another expert opinion on. So definitely keep that mentorship alive. I come back to you, man.
Okay. I got one last question and we get you out of here, coach. So when it was just going back real quick to the whole the how much pressure is it on coaches that you see that especially on the college level that they have to, like you just said, high school players gonna have a hard time getting recruited and get into these schools because all these transferring and stuff going around. How hard, how important or how much pressure is the dean of the school, these boosters putting on these coaches to win ASAP where they can't develop anymore. They have to take these players and put them out of transfer portal to try to build a title contender tomorrow. So how much pressure should it be something like the coaches being to come together with this with the deans and the other programs to be able to say, okay, we need to figure something out because it's just the wild, wild west. And should college sports have a commissioner? And we'll end it with that.
Well, I agree 100%. It's a major concern, and again, I go back to Dabo Sweeney at Clemson. He does it the right way. He's not gone to the portal, and I think it's important. Winning is important, but you got to do it the right way as well. And again, it's still about teaching life lessons, even when they get to college football, and even in pro as well. But I think. You know, that winning and pressure to win has filtered from college down to high school. Now you see high school coaches getting fired because they have a bad season or two. And I think that's tough. You have to draw the line somewhere. And I wish I was smart enough to figure out where to draw the line as far as the NIL and the winning and losing in college and high school.
Okay, well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on tonight and giving us your time. Especially we don't every day we don't get a Hall of Fame coach on our show every weekend. So definitely we to have you on here to get your expertise on the game because we just all we doing is giving opinions. So you actually the expert in giving us the what it is. So for us to be able to learn and to be able to grow our knowledge about the game is always a good thing for us and for our people that watch us out there. So I appreciate you coming out tonight and being able to give us your story.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and again, I appreciate what y'all do for high school sports. But I do have to tell you that I got Hall of Fame because I had players that worked so hard and those assistant coaches, and sometimes they overcame the knowledge of the head coach. So it's great to be in the Hall of Fame, but it's not just one person. It took a lot of great assistant coaches and all the knowledge that I learned from those other coaches that I coached for and coached against in high school.
Okay. All right, Coach. Thank you for coming on. God bless you and have a good night.
Well, y'all too. And thank you again. I appreciate what y'all do.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.